Hey there, Dodgers fans. Wait a minute. Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to a brand new episode of FYC. You know, we are only in October, but award season is really kicking into high gear already. Still more than 4 months away from the Academy Awards in March of 2025. It is not even the end of October, and things are happening. Joining me as always on FYC, the amazing Perri Nemiroff and the mighty Jeff Snyder. So this week we are going to cover our first round of predictions for Best Supporting Actor. And this was a fun category. Perri, what was your take overall on the field for Supporting Actor?
Can I give you a little rant first, Mance?
Sure. Yep.
So I'm going to get to this before it comes up in the comment section.
Okay.
FYC is about making predictions that wind up being right. We're predicting the most likely nominees.
Correct.
Not necessarily seeing the movies and using our opinion on the movies to justify every single prediction we make.
Right.
There's also situations where sometimes we are assigned other movies to cover for job, for living. And then sometimes we don't have access to screenings because it's not our time in the queue to be invited to something. So there's a multitude of reasons why someone on this panel might not see a particular movie.
Right.
So
just to clarify that. Sure. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And we are predicting what is going to be nominated. We're not picking our favorites. I mean, we're mentioning our favorites, movies that we loved, but even sight unseen, we have a really good idea of what could get nominated. And look, we want to bring great content to you for a very, very long time. That means kind of, jumping the gun on things and maybe predicting things that we haven't seen yet, but just based on the chatter, based on the movie, based on the work of the actor or director, actress, I think we have a pretty good idea of what is going to get nominated. And that is also why we do these categories more than once.
We do. My point being, just please be forgiving of personal time. And also just note that this is what the show is. So while we can't necessarily see everything on the list today, more often than not, we have seen the large majority of nominees by the end of November, early December, and that's the same every single year. So in case we talk about something that we haven't seen today, that's the way FYC goes. It's the process every single year, and I hope you could be understanding of that.
Or you guys could just write your local studio publicist, start a hashtag, and get us invited to these movies. That way, we don't have to just guess.
I fear no one heard anything you just said, Jeff, because you were speaking so close to the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Don't blow yourself out.
All right. With that, okay, Perri, what's your take on the field for Supporting Actor?
It's changing quite considerably with one. I don't want to spoil the conversation, but there's one particular movie that just had its first screening, and I am trying to, kind of get my own footing in terms of that conversation to see how much of it is like a sound prediction versus how much is initial screening hype. And it's a particular movie that I'm seeing very, very soon. And I am excited to get a sense of how legitimate that particular person will rock this category. How legitimate that person's chances to rock this category is.
Is it a movie that screened already last week, or is it a movie that is not yet screened for anybody?
No. It screened already. That's why my list had changed considerably from last week.
Well, again, I keep saying this, we do these categories 2, maybe even 3 times. I mean, again, it's only October. We got more than 4 months till the Oscars. And that's the fun of FYC, is that we get to change our minds because it is a free country. At least it is for now. So, Jeff, what is your take on the field for Supporting Actor?
It's a blowout. It's done.
Yeah,
Block it.
I'll lower the microphone, but
it's over.
It's over. It's over. You think it's over?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Hold that thought. All right. With Perri, what is your number one choice so far?
I'm buying into it right now. I have Denzel at number 1. I haven't seen Gladiator. By the time we record again, I will finally have had my opportunity to screen the film. We all know how this goes. I like to look at every reaction and think that it is, pure and not getting caught up in first screening hype. But I also have to, kind of have that shield up, especially when we're doing our best to make accurate predictions. So I'm kind of teetering on the edge, but clearly I'm teetering into believing the hype with his work here. And I've got him at number one now. I'm curious in the next couple of days if he remains my number one, and I think it's a real possibility he will.
Okay, Jeff, what about you? Where does Denzel Washington fall on your list?
I have him at number one and taking home his third Oscar. I don't need to see this movie. I've already talked to enough. I've already talked to enough Academy voters. And looking at the rest of the list by process of elimination, it's over.
Okay, so you both have Denzel at number one. I saw the film last Friday. I think the movie is amazing. It is as good as a sequel to an Oscar-winning Best Picture can possibly be. It is a return to form for Ridley Scott. Paul Mescal was actually magnificent in the film. I just loved it. And, I posted about when I saw it. Then I woke up the next morning and I thought more about it, and I loved it even more. So that is why I have Denzel Washington at number 2 on my list.
Oh, man, I did not see that coming.
I'm sure you didn't, the amazing Perri Nemiroff. But number 2 was still a nomination for sure. Of course, Denzel Washington is already a 2-time Academy Award winner for 1989's Glory for supporting actor, and of course 2001's Training Day for Best Actor. And yeah, I agree with both of you. I mean, I think that this is going to be a big movie when it opens the same day as Wicked. So let's start those Glad of Wicked hashtags. And I think that, Denzel was fantastic in the movie. But my number one, I'm going with, because my number one was more of a lead performance. It was in a film that is not obviously as big an epic scope as Gladiator II, but on an emotionally resonant level, it was a movie that really did move me to the core of my being. I was in tears after this film, and I love this movie. It is a real pain, and the performance is Kieran Culkin, who's already an Emmy winner for the final season of Succession for lead actor in a drama series. I think this movie is terrific. I think Kieran Culkin's performance is incredible. Now, how does it compare to like Denzel Washington and Gladiator II? I could easily flip these, but for right now, even though I just saw Gladiator and I saw A Real Pain again at the Telluride back in the Labor Day weekend, I think Kieran Culkin gets nominated. I think Denzel Washington gets nominated. And, the next time we do this, I could have it, Denzel at number one, because I'm definitely going to see Gladiator again when it opens, if not sooner. So with that, Jeff, who is your number 2? Who does number 2 work for?
It is, in fact, Succession star Jeremy Strong.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Jeremy Strong's turn as Roy Cohn in The Apprentice is the best supporting actor performance of the year. It just won't win because it's in a Donald Trump movie. So there's no question. Don't need to see Gladiator 2. Jeremy Strong will be better than Denzel Washington at the end of the day, but he has no chance because he's in a Donald Trump movie. So he'll be lucky to get the nomination, but I think the work is good enough that he's definitely going to get in, and that's why I have him at number 2.
Perri, do you have Jeremy Strong on your list?
I say Jeremy Strong or Kieran Culkin, because I don't have either of them on the list. I have Kieran Culkin higher up in my honorable mentions. I do think Jeremy Strong is quite good in The Apprentice, but I don't think that upon release, that movie had enough starting momentum to suggest that it will push its way into award season, regardless of the subject matter of the film. It's not veering down that path based on what I'm seeing thus far. And I know Don't Doubt Searchlight Pictures, but I'm not fully convinced that A Real Pain is making enough noise right now either. I do understand the passion behind his work in the film, but I'm just not seeing enough. I'm not hearing enough enthusiasm and chatter, and I feel like it's going to wind up kind of like getting cut off ultimately.
Look, I said this before. I don't know if I said it here, but I thought The Apprentice was a terrific movie. I mean, and I think that it really does walk a line between, it's not a Trump bashing film at all. I mean, if you love the guy, you'll see that in the film. If you don't like the guy, you'll see that in the movie too. I thought Jeremy Strong was magnificent in the film. Sebastian Stan was great in the film, but the movie like bombed when it opened. I think it was.
We got to stop this. Why?
Hold them.
Why does box office doesn't matter?
But
it does matter.
No, it doesn't. Voters are going to see this movie.
Because
Donald Trump is the greatest show on earth, right? I mean, he's a monster, but he's the greatest show on earth. That's why he's been president, and that's why he's in the race this year. And so in a month, okay, when he loses the election and he's no longer the threat to democracy, okay, he's going to go back to being entertainment value. And the Academy is going to watch this movie. Watch.
Yeah, especially if he does it behind bars. All right, we're getting
just briefly, man. Going back, I feel like we've had this conversation a million times over the course of the years. But box office does matter for a multitude of reasons. It could matter for narrative, like for example, Inside Out 2 breaking certain box office records. I do think bolsters its case to get not only a nomination but make itself a front runner to win that particular category. And also, box office winds up being a fairly decent representation of how many people have seen a movie. I understand Academy members are going to get screeners, but sometimes they go to the movie theater also. And also, the more people who see a movie in theaters, the more noise it creates, the more it puts it on an Academy voters' radar. Yeah. So it does. I'm not saying it completely dictates a movie's chances of winning or not, but it does play a factor here.
Look, listen to what you just said. You said the movie's chances of winning. We're not talking about a movie. We're talking about a performance. Okay, and box office does not affect performance nominations.
You can't separate the two. If someone has not seen,
you definitely can. And when you look at the other movies here, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, Anora, Sing Sing. What are these movies that are breaking the box office? They're all evil. They're all equal footing. They're all under $10 million. The Apprentice is going to be no different than the others.
All right, can I say something, please?
The difference between The Apprentice and the others is also a studio's award season campaign budget. That will definitely be a factor as well.
Fair enough.
All right, so here's what I have to say about all that. So, I mean, look, box office doesn't matter. I mean, you could point to the year that The Hurt Locker, which was one of the lowest grossing Best Picture winners, went up against Avatar, which made over like $2 billion worldwide. And The Hurt Locker won for Best Picture. And now, granted, that was 15 years ago, but still. But hang on. So the point that I think Perry's trying to make that in this case, the box office in the case of The Apprentice is indicative of the fact that maybe even Oscar voters won't see the film. Whereas in the case of the other movies, Jeff, that you mentioned, like Sing Sing and Anora and A Real Pain, I think that regardless of the box office, Oscar voters will see those movies. But the subject matter of The Apprentice might be too, and I'm just saying it might be too off-putting for even Academy voters to recognize the film in any of those categories. Having said that, I think the film is absolutely worthy. Hey, puppy dog. I think the song, sorry, I got distracted. I think the movie is, wait, just let me finish. I think the movie is absolutely worthy of nominations for Best Actor for Sebastian Stan, for Supporting Actor for Jeremy Strong, and even screenplay. I thought the screenplay was terrific. So I have Jeremy Strong at number 3 on my honorable mention, not because I think he's not worthy of getting nominated, but because I just don't know yet how this movie is going to resonate with the kind of voters necessary to put him in the 5. Now, as the next few weeks roll along and people are talking about it, more voters see it through their Academy app, seeing it at home, seeing it at screener, going to an Academy screening. Then maybe I'll move Jeremy Strong up because I think he actually is going to get nominated, which brings us to the top point that Perri made in this conversation. We're predicting who's going to get nominated. And just based on the reaction, the noise that The Apprentice isn't making enough of, I just don't think that the movie or Jeremy or Sebastian get in yet. That could change, which is why we do these freaking categories over and over again. Anything else?
This episode is chaotic.
I love it. That is what we love about FYC. We just say what we want to say, and we see FYC what we want to see.
You have a hard out, so we can move it along. I
Okay.
won't issue a rebuttal.
All right. So with that, Perri, who's your number 2?
Oh God. Backtracking now. My number 2 is Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. This is one of those movies that I see very much being on the upswing, and I think the noise this particular film is going to make overall is only going to get stronger and stronger as we get through the season. So I have him at number 2 behind Denzel right now.
All right, Mr. Snyder, theinsnyder.com. Where do you have Guy Pearce in your 5?
I sure do. I do have him at number 3, and I do agree with Perri that The Brutalist is gaining steam right now.
Yeah, I agree. I have Guy Pearce at number 4, and this would be his first nomination. An actor who can do no wrong. One of my favorite movies of his is 2001's Memento, which he still, I think, should have been nominated for. But yeah, I mean, The Brutalist is a friggin' monument. I mean, monumental is in like a word that so many critics have used. They credited a bunch of critics in the movie trailer as saying the word monumental, and it's a magnificent film. Guy Pearce gets in. I have him on my list as well. So my number 1, I said, was Kieran Culkin. Neither one of you have him on yours. My number 3.
I do.
Who? Kieran Culkin?
Yeah. I have him at number 4.
Oh, you have Kieran Culkin. Okay, great. So he's your number 4. Perri, he's not on your list, right?
He is not at the moment, at least.
All right. So he could end up in our top 5 when this conversation is over. I just want to cut to my number 3, which could go to either one of 2 people for this movie. I, been raving about, pardon me, this September 5th. Since I saw the movie, A Telluride. I love this movie. I got a chance to see it again a couple Saturdays ago, and it was the centerpiece screening at the San Diego Film Festival, and the screenings were completely full. I think, I'm going to go with Peter Sarsgaard as my number 3, because I think Peter Sarsgaard is just one of those actors who is always great. He was terrific last year in that movie, Jeff, that you love, Memory. I've been a big fan of Peter Sarsgaard since 2003's Shattered Glass, which I think he was nominated for like a Golden Globe for. But I think he's an amazing actor. I'll watch him in anything. And I think John Magaro is equally as good in September 5th. But how do you nominate both of these actors for the same film in a field that is, pretty crowded, as they all are? I think Peter Sarsgaard might get the edge because he's a better known name, even though John Magaro has a little more screen time. But if they're both getting submitted for supporting actor, I think the edge is going to go to Peter Sarsgaard. Do either of you have him on your list?
I do not.
Jeff?
Yes.
You do. Where is he for you, Jeff?
Number 5.
He's your number 5. All right.
And Magaro is 6. But I don't really understand running them both in supporting. I mean, who is Magaro supporting? Who's the lead he's supporting? So and I think they could hurt each other's chances. That's why I have Peter at 5.
To keep it on topic, I went the opposite. Eileen's Magaro, and he's my number 5.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, so is it official that both of them are being submitted for supporting actor? Did they clarify that yet?
Paramount doesn't communicate with me, so.
Yeah, I guess we gotta wait and see. But right now, I think because it's an ensemble, I'm looking at them both in supporting. I mean, that could change, and I hope it does, so that they both have a chance to get nominated. John Magaro was great. He's my number 1 honorable mention, and this could flip. I could move Peter Sarsgaard to honorable mention, move John Magaro up. I think this movie is awesome. And I saw some comments, unfortunately, Perri, in the comment section that people think I'm overhyping this movie, whatever. Just wait till you see the film before you tell me that I'm overhyping the film. I think
compared to some of the other movies that we're talking about so heavily right now, I do think September 5th is more, playing the long game at this point, starting with the hype that you helped start at Telluride and now taking it through to release. And I mean, I do think it's gonna go one way or the other. We're either gonna see this movie take off or it's gonna fade out of the conversation, but I do think it's really good and deserving of being in it. Man,
so I buy the talk. And again, if we were to take Jeremy Strong off my list, since he seems like a non-starter with both of you, I'd put both Peter and John on.
I would not mind seeing that happen.
All right. So, Perri, what are we missing from your list that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, what is your list? Because
very good
I have no idea.
We've gotten to most of my -2. I went Denzel, Guy Pearce, and then my number 3 is Stanley Tucci. And again, like I think the conclave positivity is very, very real, and I think it's going to be a major player across the board. And at this particular point in the season, I don't think there's any denying that.
I agree.
I deny it. I think it is the most overrated of the awards movies. I think it's going to leave a lot of people unsatisfied or dissatisfied. And as good as Tucci was, it's not a performance you can be passionate about, like any of, like, Kieran Culkin, Guy Pearce. I don't sense the passion behind that.
I have Stanley Tucci at my number 5. He's on my list. And so Stanley Tucci is a prior Oscar nominee for supporting actor for 2009's The Lovely Bones. And he's actually a 6-time Emmy winner for performances in Witchell. He was a guest actor on Monk. And I didn't even know they had an Emmy category for Outstanding Hosted Nonfiction Series. But Stanley Tucci won 3 Emmys right there for Stanley Tucci Searching for Italy, which I've seen before. It is a delightful show. And he clearly loves hosting that show. It's a joy to watch. But there's a lot of love for Stanley Tucci. He has been an amazing actor. Just another one of those like Peter Sarsgaard types, like everything he does is great. I think this is going to be a major contender throughout the season, especially with voters. It just feels like an Oscar-type movie, and I think it's going to get picture, director, screenplay, certainly costume design, score, all that stuff. And I thought Stanley Tucci, that is a supporting performance. He is supporting Ralph Fiennes all the way. That is what a supporting performance is. It's a little restrained. It is dialed back. It's not a showy performance, but I think it is powerful nonetheless. And I think that Tucci really does stand out. And by the time this episode of FYC posts on Friday, October 25th, you can all see the film because it will be in theaters nationwide. So when you do that, make sure you put in the comment section what you thought of Conclave, and make sure that you also subscribe to Perri's YouTube channel. Just scroll down right now and do that. And while we're at it, for station identification, make sure you subscribe to Jeff's newsletter, theinsnyder.com. Okay, back to the show. All right, so Jeff, you don't even have him on your honorable mention, Stanley Tucci?
No, I do. I have him at 7. So it sounds like right now we're going Denzel, Guy Pearce, Kieran Culkin, and then we need to choose 2 out of the 3.
I'm still missing one.
Oh,
say Perri.
I know who Perri's going to say here.
My number 4 is Sam Jackson.
Samuel Jackson.
Curveball.
Yeah, curveball.
Yeah.
So Piano Lesson is one of the ones that I need to catch up on, and I'm still quite mad at myself because I had to choose between that and Saturday Night at TIFF, and I chose the wrong movie, for me at least. But I am hearing some rock solid things about the movie in general. I am curious to see, because we always have to consider how many award season movies a particular distributor has on their plate. And I don't think Piano Lesson is going to be the Netflix juggernaut. And I do think we might see them favor something else on there. I mean, in particular, Amelia Perez. But if this one winds up picking up enough steam, I feel like Samuel Jackson is just a very obvious person and talent in this industry to rally behind. And I am looking forward to seeing that happening.
All right, Jeff, did we get to everyone on your list? A great choice, Perri. Who else?
We got to my 5. The only other honorable mentions I had were Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Ed Norton for A Complete Unknown. No one's seen that movie yet. And then the guy I keep coming back to, who I thought was great in Anora, was Karen Karagulian.
Is he? Which one is he?
He's the guy who they have to pull away from the baptism, who's sort of calling the shots.
I want to pick one of the Anora supporting actors so badly. I fear they're all going to eat away at each other's chances, but I would give anything to see one of them crack this race.
I have actually Mark Adelstein, who played, I guess he was the boyfriend, right? He was the husband. He was excellent. I thought that's one of those performances. Is that really who he is? You know what I mean? It was so good as this completely spoiled son of a Russian mobster that I was like, man, that That is incredible performance. So I agree. I think, and I agree with the other guy who you mentioned too. Is Anora is an excellent movie. I mean, that movie's off the hook. I cannot wait to see that one again as well. My other honorable mentions too are Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, John Turturro for The Room Next Door, and yeah. So okay, so let's go through our 5. I think we have Denzel Washington for sure.
Yes.
Guy Pearce for sure.
Yes.
And then Kieran Culkin, Jeff, you and I had, right? And
There's
then
4 people, I think, have 2 votes.
4 people have 2 votes. So the ones who have 2 votes are Kieran Culkin, Peter Sarsgaard.
Me and you. Sarsgaard, yes. Me
Okay,
and you.
Stanley Tucci, me and Perry.
Yeah.
And who's the 4th who has 2?
I'm going to give Magaro mine. I'll take Strong off.
Okay. All right. Well, John Magaro, Perry, you have Magaro, right? All right. Wow. Okay. So the question I think to settle this is, will 2 actors from one movie make this list?
I think at this point in time, assessing the movie's chances, I will say no, but with the disclaimer that I do see a world where that can change.
That could change. Jeff, what do you think?
Not right now.
I would say yes over Conclave, and if you're saying The Apprentice is out, then yeah, I would say yes. I don't know what else we're looking at.
Again, this is not about how much I love Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, because I do. I'm just worried that people will avoid the film.
That's fine. No, I've lost that battle. I've given up, but I'm saying I go both September 5th guys plus Denzel, Kieran, and Guy.
Okay, both September 5th guys. And Perry, you don't.
If I'm like speaking about a realistic possibility at this given moment, I don't think we're going to see both of them in here, but ultimately, if they're both nominated, I'll be happy about their nomination. So I'm okay leaning in that direction.
Well, I think Kieran Culkin gets in for sure. I mean, no question about it.
I think so too.
All right, and I do think Peter Sarsgaard for now. And because Paramount's definitely in for the long haul, they're just kind of getting started on this. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is a movie that is definitely going to. It's just starting up, just like with the Brutalist.
He's the bigger name, Sarsgaard, and he's playing the bigger character, Rune Arledge, right?
Right. All right.
I think those 4 are in, and then you guys get to really pick the 5th between Magaro and Tucci, I guess. Well, I don't think Sam Jackson is in. I just don't. I don't get that.
I'm going to go because right now, this could change. Right now, I just don't think 2 actors from the same movie get into this category. I go with Sarsgaard. I'm going with Sarsgaard. But Perry, that means that I go with Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Well, that's fair. This
is a compromise.
Yeah.
So I think our 5 then are Denzel Washington for Gladiator II, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Peter Sarsgaard for September 5th, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Stanley Tucci for Conclave. Those are the 5 we're going with on round 1 of supporting actor for our Oscar prediction. Teamwork, baby. Make sure you let us know in the comments section in a very nice, polite way what you think of our nominations, because we worked very hard on this, and this is our 7th season doing FYC. We love doing it. We know you love it too, because we get recognized all the time from FYC now. So keep on spreading the word and spreading FYC on your social media. Even if you think, oh, someone else will do it, you need to do it too. Please support FYC by spreading the love and sharing it on your social media, saying this is the award season show you need to watch. Also, while you're at it, again, just scroll down. While we have your attention, just scroll down just a little bit. We can keep the conversation going while you're doing that. Just scroll down a little bit. See that little subscribe button for Perry's channel. Subscribe to that so you can be the first to see when we drop a new episode of FYC. Also, all of Perry's great content, her reviews, the Merry Hour, and so on and so on and so on. Make sure you subscribe to Jeff Snyder's newsletter, theinsnyder.com. And make sure you watch Jeff's other show with my good friend and brother, John Roca, which today, as of this taping on October, I think it's the 23rd. Yes, today is John Roca's birthday. So big happy birthday to you, my friend. And make sure you watch me on some mornings on KTLA or go to ktla.com and you can see me doing all sorts of fun stuff on KTLA. Until the next episode of FYC, thanks so much for watching. And of course, FY.
See you later.
And happy Halloween.